Poetry Help, Ode to the West Wind, P. B. Shelley, 45. Summary of the poem. The present poem is an ode dedicated to the west wind and its power. The poem begins with the speaker's invocation to the west wind of autumn. The west wind scatters the dead leaves and enables seeds to spread in order to be nurtured by the spring. The speaker addresses the west wind with the words destroyer and preserver. He wants the west wind to listen to the speaker. The speaker says that the west wind causes violent storms. According to the speaker, the west wind shakes the Mediterranean from his summer dreams and cleaves the Atlantic into choppy chasms. The vegetation in the ocean trembles. The speaker asks the west wind for the third time to hear him. The speaker declares that he would never pray to the west wind, and invoke the powers of the west wind. If he were also a dead leaf that is blown by the wind, or a cloud the wind carries, or a wave that is pushed by the wind. The speaker urges the west wind to raise him higher like a wave, a leaf, a cloud, but he regrets that he is chained and under the weight of the time on this earth. The speaker wants the west wind to make him its lyre and mold him in its spirit so as to spread his thoughts across the universe. He wants his words to be scattered among mankind. He is hopeful that there will be spring soon. The poem ends with an optimistic note. Form of the poem. The poem consists of 5 stanzas of 14 lines each. Each stanza has 4 3-line substanzas, and a 2-line couplet. The lines follow iambic pentameter. The poem has terza rima, which is a 3-line rhyme scheme that was primarily used by Dante in his Divine Comedy. The rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, B, C, D, C, D, E, D, E, E. Critical analysis. The speaker addresses the west wind and praises its power. He describes how the west wind controls the rest of the nature and it blows across every part of the earth. It has the powers both to preserve and destroy. The wind controls the seasons, clouds, seas, and all other aspects of nature. The west wind is a source of inspiration for the poet. The west wind is a metaphor for the awe-inspiring spirit of nature. The speaker finally wants to be assisted by the west wind in his creation of poetry. He prays to the west wind to inspire him. He wants that the west wind should spread his words across the land. Since it is an ode, excitement, pleasure, joy, and hope are obvious in the tone of the speaker. The poet draws a parallel between the changing moods of the west wind and his own ever-changing spirit. The poem is basically established on the theme of inspiration that the poet draws from nature. The west wind is praised by the use of anthropomorphic techniques, wintry bed, chariots, corpses, and clarions, to personalize the great natural spirit, with a hope that the poet's request will be heard. The speaker knows that he is bound by time and mortality, but he requests the west wind to make him its lyre so that his words could be carried through land and time. By this the poet seems to be praying to the nature to inspire him with such a spirit which would raise his poetry beyond the confines of time.